Welcome to a Saturday edition of the Investing Bros. I am T. Shroom, and I'm joined by an extra special guest today. It is going to be a lot of fun to dive in with F.D. White. We're going to be getting into some of his biggest picks for crypto going into 2024 and into 2025. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about maybe some of the hiccups to be watching out for later on in this year as well. Some of the obstacles that it may be useful to be aware of coming into the year. It's an election year here in the United States, and there's a lot of chatter around crypto, around possible disasters. Who knows what could happen this year? We're going to get into all that and more. But before I get too far here, I do want to remind you all that tax season is upon us. Decrypted.tax is our tax partners, and if you head on over to Decrypted.tax today and book a free 30 or 60-minute consultation, tell them that the Investing Bros sent you, and you actually get 25% off those pro tax services. Don't hesitate any longer. Go over to decrypted.tax today. Well, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our special guest here. This is F.D. White. F.D., how we doing today?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you for having me, man. Been a fan for years, man. Been a fan for years. So this is an honor to come on your platform. Honor to see you guys grow. I was a early subscriber to you guys' channel, and just happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we had a big week this week. Bitcoin hit 70,000. Ethereum hit 4,000 and just kept right on chugging. Now the question is, what's up from here? We're going to be talking about that a little bit, but I had to ask. You held both of these coins, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum. You got to see some of this upside. How are you feeling this week?
Feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I've been a holder since I got in Bitcoin at 13K in 2020. Not a whole Bitcoin, but some Bitcoin. That was kind of my introduction. We'll get into that a little bit later. I've been holding ETH. That's my biggest bag. We'll also get into that later. So I've been feeling good. ETH was lagging for a minute, and everybody was turning their back on ETH when Sol was making his run. And now ETH is starting to catch up, especially with those ETF wranglings. So I'm feeling good, man. Feeling really good.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, that is what is kind of coming into focus now for Ethereum is going to be those spot ETF approval for Ethereum. We're going to be talking about that a little bit. I mean, there's a lot we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Why don't we get into what we're going to be talking about right now, which is you, FD. So, FD, you've kind of splashed onto the scene pretty hardcore. You've done some collabs with some pretty big names. So, tell us, what are you looking to do here in crypto? What really drives you, and what is your passion here in the space?
Well, yeah, man. I've done some huge collabs with some of the biggest people in the space. I don't know how. I honestly don't know how, but I'm a big proponent of getting in what you put out. So I'm always showing gratitude. I'm always showing appreciation. So I think that was just one of the things that reciprocated back to me in my life. So I'm really just looking to open doors for people in my area. You know what I mean? I'm from Detroit. I'm from the ghetto. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they already think investing is a scam. Like, they don't think investing is real. And then on top of crypto, it's just like, oh, I got to stay away from crypto, until meme coin season comes around. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm just trying to open doors and open minds to people who wouldn't be privy to it, in any other case. So I'm just doing my part, man. I'm just one man. But they say one man can change the world, and I live by that. And I'm just trying to lead by example. So that's one of the main things that I'm trying to do.
I love it. It's happened many, many times where one man in a moment of integrity really did change the course of the future. So then this begs the question then, FD, is, if you're from Detroit, you're from, somewhere specific, how did you find crypto?
So we go back to the pandemic, man. The pandemic really changed my life. Well, let's tune back a little bit further. About 2015, 2016, my boy, he was buying crypto every month, or every week rather. He was buying like $50 worth of Bitcoin. So it was on my radar, and then I'm like, okay, but you know how it is. It's usually not the first time that you get into crypto. Second time, 2018, I think I bought like some XRP or something just because it was like super cheap. Didn't know what it was doing. Didn't really pay attention to it. Swing back around 2020 pandemic, watching Netflix all day, watching Game of Thrones, binge watching, TV, got tired of that. So I got on YouTube, got into the stock market. So the
Mm-hmm.
stock market, once the algorithm gets to kicking in, it just keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. So I'm going down the stock market rabbit hole. I'm like, ooh, okay, 2%, 3%, 4% a year, ooh, 8% a year. That's cool. Then Da Vinci's video popped up, the buy $1 worth of Bitcoin, please. So I
Mm-hmm.
watched that. And then I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. So, like I said, the algorithm kicked in, and then I just started going down the crypto rabbit hole. And then, once you get down the crypto rabbit hole, it's you come in for the price go up, but you stay for the revolution. It's really like a revolution. It's really like,
I
if
love that.
you start peeling layers back, you learn how the monetary system works, you learn how the government works, you learn how fiscal, like I said, monetary policies work.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize about the dollar. I'm not here to trash the dollar. I'm not here to trash fiat, but we all know,
I am.
inevitably what's going on, what's going to happen. So I just went down that rabbit hole, man, and it opened my eyes and changed my life. And I took all my pandemic money, dumped it in crypto, and it changed my life. So I really didn't use any of my money. You know what I mean? So that's just a short version of it.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, U.S. government. I will hand that right over to
Thank you.
Satoshi.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's great. That's great. And that's a very organic kind of entry into crypto. I think a lot of folks probably will have shared in a similar path. I'd say mine's pretty different from that. I got hired at Crypto Jeb at a different YouTube channel that covered crypto, very similar to the way we cover here. And before that, I had looked back at my Robinhood account, and I had bought Bitcoin before, but I was just trading it. It looked like, and I was just trading anything that was moving 7% in a week. And so that was my exposure to it. But then when I got hired. I got hired at the top of the last bull market, and I just bought a bunch of Bitcoin.
I remember. I remember when you came on. I was watching faithfully every day.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah. So I bought the top. I bought it heavy, and I just held it. I held it to this day, and but obviously I DCA'd since the top, and have been rewarded for that so far. So that's really awesome. Yeah. I mean, so with what you're doing, are you going to have an intention to try to turn around and have and specifically cater your content towards folks from like bigger cities who maybe don't have much of a financial literacy background at all, or is that just going to be like, are those folks going to kind of come along if they want, or what is your approach to helping orange pill the masses of urban population?
You know what I've come to realize, T-Shroom, is it's sometimes when you try to teach adults or grown people new things, it's hard. It's hard. It's kind of like you can't teach an old dog new trick. You can, but it's hard. So what I want to do is I want to start lower. I want to start like, with the things that they don't teach us in school. So I'm kind of well versed in like financial literacy, but let's say if financial literacy was the overall curriculum, I'm majoring in crypto. You know what I mean? So I want to bring financial literacy to the younger generation, the younger kids. I'm probably going to start like a nonprofit or something like that over in the city. So just things like that. But right now I'm about to go travel during the bull market. So that's why, I'm here right now. I'm actually leaving on Sunday, tomorrow. So I just wanted to, show the people like it's a different life. Like a lot of people don't understand that, investing, crypto, especially crypto, because it's the fastest vehicle in the garage, can change your life. It can really change your life. And once they see somebody like me, somebody they grew up with, somebody who comes from where they from, it'll be more apparent to them or more realistic to them to see somebody like that.
Well, tell us where are you planning to travel?
Okay, so I'll be in Dubai for a month.
Boom.
Starting
How did I know?
next, I think it's next. Well, I'll be there Tuesday because it takes a while to get there, and I got
Okay.
three kids, so I gotta, we gotta make a stop because I don't know if we can do that whole trip. So I'll be there on Tuesday in Dubai. I'll be there for a month. Then we're gonna go to Thailand, Phuket. We're going to travel the islands down Phuket. I'm still going to be working, still going to be uploading, still going to be doing everything I'm doing, still going to be trading because that's what's going to fund it. And, in the bull market, it's kind of easy to trade. Not easy, but it's easier, a lot easier. So I'm going to be doing that. After that, who knows, maybe Bali, Tokyo. We'll stay in Asia. Then I'll come back and get to going with things I need to do here in the States.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, traveling during the bull market. Well, there's a couple of contacts in some of the places you mentioned. We can chat after, and I can put you in touch with them if you aren't already.
Cool.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. Traveling, and then coming back, and then making some content for folks who may not have heard too much about Bitcoin, about crypto. I think that's a really good plan. And 2024 is just going to be a year where a lot of folks like yourself are kind of springing up and making it happen, right? Bringing
Exactly.
education to a demographic of people who haven't thought about it before, whether that be in America or outside America, and
Exactly.
you could, because different people are going to resonate with different people. And it's like you said, you can't teach. It's difficult to teach old dogs new tricks. Well,
Mhm.
you can have a better approach to it, and I think that I think you're positioned well to reach a lot of different people, and that's going to be really good. So I want to talk about your biggest fears for 2024. So in 2024, it's an election season here in the United States. It sounds like you're doing the right thing and just getting the heck out of here. But what are your thoughts on the the election? Not necessarily the political aspects of it,
Yeah.
but what are your biggest fears, and could it affect crypto? Could it affect finances?
T. Shroom, man, you know better than I do, man. We are putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg here in the United States. Think we're going to kick the can down the road a little bit further. My biggest fear is the stock market. Like, the
Hmm.
stock market is so out of balance right now, it scares me. So with all the big institutions, ETFs and BlackRock and all these big players coming in from Wall Street, I think it'll be a correlation if the stock market does seem to roll over. So the stock market right now is really like Nvidia. We seen that big sell off yesterday with Nvidia. So hopefully Nvidia recovers. But I think it'll be, my biggest fear is it's probably 2025, and in 2024, I think if we have some sort of stock market rollover, crypto may be correlated at the beginning,
Hmm.
and then it'll probably act as a hedge. So crypto is so weird right now. Like, we don't know how it's going to react. We don't know if it's going to be a safe haven. We don't know if it's a risk asset. We're still so early in this
Hmm.
new institutional led rally and institutions coming in. So it's actually exciting. But either way it goes, you just got to be in tune to the market. You got to stay in tune to the people who are in tune to the markets, and you got to just stay focused, stay locked in, because the bear market is hard. But people don't understand, the bull market might be a little bit harder, because your emotions are at all-time highs, your fear and your greed. So I'm just staying in tune to the markets and doing my part on my channel, and everybody who looks to me for some type of non-financial advice, and just staying ahead and moving forward.
Absolutely, yeah. And there'll be some events, that'll kind of rock the boat more than likely. My guess is that we've got enough people in this world that are praying, right? Praying for the United States, praying for the leadership and for the transition. I know I am. And I think that God wants us to have a good, peaceful transition here in 2024. Whether Biden gets reelected or whatever happens, I think that there's going to be peace. There's a lot of voices out there saying that there's going to be a bunch of bad things that are going to happen, some big catastrophic event, and what I would say is be ready, have a plan, to the best of your ability, have a network of people, that are going to be prepared to all come together and work to survive, right? But
Exactly.
just, I believe that it's not. We're going to get through the whole year. Nothing will have happened. There'll be some places where there were probably fights and, like, partisan activities took place, right? But ultimately, we're going to get through it, and it's going to be good. So, yes, 2024 is going to be a magical year because in crypto, this is the halving year. For folks who don't know, this is the year where the reward drip to miners, actually it's cut in half after around, it looks like April 18th. This looks like the calculated date. So what that does is it creates a lower supply of new Bitcoin into the space. And when you have lower supply, that can induce higher prices. That's what we've seen historically. So it's and I know you know that, but it's a potentially a very, very big year for crypto. And when Bitcoin kind of takes the lead there and becomes more valuable. Now, altcoins kind of come along and they're like, whoa, like Bitcoin shooting up, and so people want to diversify and go down out further into the risk curve, and they want to pick up altcoins. So I want to ask you. I have a couple of altcoins myself. We cover altcoins here every now and then on the Investing Bros. What are some altcoins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum that have really caught your eye and that you're feeling extra bullish on here in 2024?
So like I said, I've been holding a lot of these altcoins, some of the older ones, some of the bigger names, the layer ones. I've been holding Cardano since 2021.
Nice.
In the teens, I've been holding what else? I've been holding Avalanche. I got an Avalanche, $10, around $10. I'm holding Avalanche. What else am I holding? I'm not holding too many. I'm holding like 10 or 12. I have to check. And the rest, I'm just dating. I'm just coming in. I'm dating them. I'm, doing what I'm doing, and then I'm out of there. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. And my portfolios, it went down 80%. It was like, I'm telling you this, one day in the bull run, I think it was like November when we got that second peak. I mean, I'm walking around, I'm feeling good. I'm thinking we're going to 100,000.
Hmm.
I'm calling Mercedes Benz online. Everybody, I'm getting all this stuff set up. We got that crash. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I rolled it all the way down, 85%. Now my portfolio is back up, significantly. So with that being said, I'm starting to raise my stop losses. I'm using stop losses because I'm taking profits this time. I can't do that again. So I'm raising
Hmm.
stop losses for my long-term portfolio, and I'm also trading. Like I said a lot earlier, a lot of these coins, I like to trade triangles. Ascending triangles in a bull run are masterful. Like
Hmm.
you master those, you can make a lot of money. So I'm doing those, and I'm watching meme coins right now. That's really it. Like I hold like 10, a lot of layer ones. I'll probably add as we go along slowly but surely, but I'm not holding too long because like I said, we might be a little bit advanced in this cycle. I don't know if we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but kind of scares me.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So you feeling like maybe Bitcoin's jumped the gun? I mean, we got the FTX, we got these ETFs approved on January 10th of this year, and that basically kind of unlocked a lot of money that wanted to get into Bitcoin but kind of couldn't, or hadn't really been educated about Bitcoin. It gave BlackRock and Fidelity's sales team an incentive to go out and sell Bitcoin
True.
via the ETF. So that has induced what some may consider to be an early bull run, and it sounds like it concerns you, FD. So what are your concerns around, and so what are some of the implications around how high we've gotten so early before the halving?
So I don't know if it's my bear market PTSD, in the back of my head, or am I my gut, my intuition. It's two scenarios that we are all probably privy to: super cycle, you
Hmm.
know, or we're early and we're going to come down sooner than previously thought. So, like I said, I'm just taking profits along the way, not a lot. Like I might skim a couple dollars here and there to live or to treat myself, treat my family. But like I said, it might be PTSD from the bear market because that bear market was brutal. That bear market was long and brutal. So I definitely wanted to make sure I'm starting to lock in profits and take profits along the way. I don't want to take them too early because if we do go into a super cycle into 2025, 2026, possibly, I don't want to be too sidelined. But it's just so many factors, T. Shroom, that are playing out that we don't know about. Like
Hmm.
we don't know about black swans. We don't know how the 2025 when the new president, if we get a new president coming in, or if we keep the same president, we don't know how the dollar is going to react. Because look, if you look at the chart, all these things are happening, and DXY is like 103, 104.
Hmm.
Usually in the bull market, when the bull market starts, we start to get a DXY uh, descension.
Hmm.
So once, like, it's so many factors that I'm keeping my head to, that I'm taking it day by day, but it still kind of scares me. It might be PTSD, like I said, but we'll
Yeah.
see how this happens. We'll see what these interest rates are talking about, because usually they say once they start cutting interest rates, something bad happens.
Hmm.
But what if they just start cutting interest rates because they just, the political pressure or whatnot? Then the dollar is going to start tanking, and then the dollar starts tanking. These assets are going to keep going up. So it's just, we don't know what's going to happen. But like I
Hmm.
said, we just got to stay in tune to the market. This is the time. We did our homework in the bear market. Now is the time to be at the front of the class, paying attention, taking notes, and taking advantage of all these possibilities that are going on in crypto right now. Because it's a whole lot.
I love that. I love the way you say that. Kind of sit in the front of the class, and I think that resonates with a lot of people because that's true. You sit in the front of class. Everything else behind you doesn't matter, right? It's what is being taught, what is actually the information that matters. You mentioned the DXY. I've got it pulled up here. You also mentioned ascending wedges, right? So this is the DXY. It's broken down out of this ascending wedge, and it's also, you'll notice, it's rejected off the midline of this regression trend that I have drawn here. Now this is going back to the beginning of 2023. Back here now, you're back into 2022. So this whole period here, this is the beginning of 2024. So just to give you guys some scale, this is a weekly chart. So the DXY, according to this regression trend, could have another 1.5, call it, percent move to the downside, and that wouldn't even put it back at 100, a nice psychological number. So the more that this can get nursed to the downside and just continue to fade, the more real running room that we would see for Bitcoin. And if today's bubbles are any consolation, we're seeing buy in risk assets, including the highest risk assets that exist, like Floki and, I wouldn't say Gal is the highest risk, but like meme coins, right? Meme coins have been exploding. Today we're seeing a bid back for WorldCoin. That's interesting. And then it is a lot of kind of utility AI coins and some gaming coins. It looks like, Gala and Mana. So gaming, this is honestly the first little spike in the gaming tokens that I've seen in a little while, getting down into the narratives here. But overall, just kind of zooming back out to the macro here, I agree with you. I think that the Dixie does need to continue to slide down. It's been pretty high in the last bull run here. It would have been in this area here. So you're right. Yeah, the Dixie would have been sub 100, and right now it's not only above 100, it's 102. Right now it is in a downtrend and could potentially come down and test this downtrending line of support here. That is based off of kind of historical movement all the way back to 1999. So it does have some pretty strong support that it could potentially bounce off of. But if the Dixie gets on the wrong side of this, that's up and to the right for Bitcoin, right? And you mentioned how interest rates may affect that. My guess is that we will get interest rates a little later than we thought, and that's just because the unemployment rate, the unemployment numbers and all that, depending on how you believe it, they do continue to print bullish for the economy. They do continue to give Jerome Powell the green light to just keep the pauses coming. And I do think he's going to take advantage of that until he can't. And then you put on the tinfoil hat and it's like, well, how much do the elections affect his decision making? And I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah. So my whole thesis going into 2023, let's reverse. 2022, we got the downtrend, we got the bear market basically. 2023, I thought we were going into a massive recession. I thought we were going to go even lower for Bitcoin, crypto, stocks. We didn't. We had them bank failures, and then we just started, they probably, backdoor start money printing. I didn't really get into it, but I can kind of, sniff out what's really going on.
Sure.
I think the election is going to play a part in it. I think a lot of times they say they don't work hand in hand, but we all know we can't trust a lot of things that they say. So I think, like I said earlier, I think we're putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. How long we'll be able to stand on that Band-Aid with the broken leg, who knows? But I think it does. I think 2024 be fine. I think 2024 I think we're going to go past 100,000 in 2024. The way we're looking, I think we might go 120 by 2024. 2025 is what scares me. So I don't want to get too political, so I don't want to talk about what I think might could happen. But I think something is brewing, because it's I just feel it in the air. I feel it in the air. And I'm trying to warn people, not just about crypto, about just holding assets in general, because a lot of times people don't even know. They didn't even know what inflation was till inflation got to 9%. Little do you know, like, we have inflation every year. Now it's just the genie was out of the bottle and it was 9%. Now they really felt it. Like, if you know inflation, it always happens. It happens every year. It's just 2%, 3%, 4%, 1%, still going up. Your prices are still going up, just slower. So the genie's out the bottle now. I hope people open their eyes and realize that the dollar is just in a continued downtrend, purchasing power terms, and they do something about it. So that's one of my basic messages as well, too. I just think, like I said, crypto is the fastest way to keep your purchasing power and grow your wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. If we do continue, you mentioned, the bank failures. If we do continue to see this narrative go in the wrong direction here with NYCB, New York Community Bank shares rebounding after troubled regional bank announces $1 billion capital raise. This is something that you get excited about if you're a startup company, a $1 billion capital raise. You should not have to be doing 1 billion capital raise if you are an ancient community bank in New York, right? So this is bad, and it could get worse. My guess is if the rates do maintain, these levels that banks have not been used to for a handful of decades, there will be a continuation of failures, and it's sad to see because it could go a direction where a lot of people feel some pain here in the United States. But right now, it seems to be resigned to just the financial world, and we all know how that works. Nobody actually gets hurt by these things. It's just companies go bankrupt, and then they get rebought, and the assets get divvied up across Wall Street. But there will come a time where those who are getting it divvied to them don't want that anymore. They don't want a bunch more debt on their balance sheet, and so they're going to say stop. Jamie Dimon's already tried to say stop, CEO of JP Morgan, but it's kept on coming. So if these rates do maintain at the levels they're at, I do think we'll see more bank failures, and that is something that I would imagine is on the mind of Jerome Powell. However, we asked this question this week, and Tim kind of asked me this, and I said, well, the end of the day, though, I would rather have failed banks than inflation peaking back up and starting to head back up to 9.1, right? If I'm Jerome Powell, that is a much bigger fear than a couple of private banks going down. Now, that is bad, but I think it's a less of two evils. So, yes, ultimately I think that crypto is going to be kind of the ship that is a lot more safe. It's a lot more sound. I think we're observing. I don't know how long the process is going to take, but we're observing kind of I think you put it well, kind of the last steps of a Band-Aid on a broken leg here before the whole body kind of capitulates to gravity and falls to the ground. You're going to want to at least be off zero Bitcoin, right? You're going to want to have some hedge outside of the traditional financial system, which is built on debt and exponentially growing debt. It doesn't make sense. Maybe it makes sense to you out there listening, but it doesn't make sense to us. And so we have to keep using it because you can't get groceries or gas without it. But at the end of the day, I want to be saving my money in Bitcoin. I want to be saving my money in Ethereum. And that brings us to Ethereum, which we talked about a little bit before the show, not too much. But I have this tweet from Eric Volkanis, which, ladies and gentlemen, strap in because this is going to get a little bit troublesome. But let's go ahead and read this here. Eric Volkanis said, normally, I'd say this was a good sign, but as far as I know, the staff has not given any comments yet to the issuers, which is not a good sign as we passed when they gave comments on the BTC ETFs. Further, there's no court loss hovering over, and the correlations between futures and spot isn't as strong. Not nearly as optimistic here versus Bitcoin ETF. We will update as new info presents itself. So this is Eric Volkanis' reaction to a document from the SEC meeting. So what you'll remember is that the SEC was giving all of these requests for amendments to BlackRock and Fidelity and on down the line, 21 Shares, all the rest of them, and saying, hey, we received your application. We need you to make some changes and then resubmit it. And that was happening again and again and again. And that was a good sign because that's the SEC cooperating, trying to move towards a solution, a resolution, to ultimately make a decision that would probably be positive. And now we're on the other side of it. Obviously, it was an affirmation that Bitcoin should be usable, it should be buyable through ETFs for Wall Street. Now, Eric Volkanis is kind of pointing out, hey, we haven't really seen this next step of giving comments. So those comment requests have not yet happened. So that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on the SEC to say, okay, these are the changes we want to see in these applications. So far, that is the point in the process that has not yet happened. Now, it's just a moment in time. It's just a single moment in time here. But Eric does say he's not nearly as optimistic here. So for Ethereum holders, which I would imagine most people listening to the sound of my voice currently are Ethereum holders, including myself, what do you take from this? What are your thoughts on the Ethereum ETF spot approval? Does it even really matter on like a 10-year scale? And just like, kind of how are you tracking this?
Yeah, I seen that post too, a little bit earlier, and it kind of got me thinking. I'm not too worried about it right now, especially with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETF getting approved. I feel like Ethereum was just automatically next in line, so I think it's gonna be approved. I don't know. I think the last date to be approved is like it's coming up, like before they it's just not, it can't be approved. I don't know how that process works. Not too worried. I know Ethereum is running, pretty hard right now because of the ETF, rumblings going on. But I still think Ethereum's going to do well. I still think Ethereum's going to, outperform Bitcoin in the longer term. So I'm not too concerned about the ETF for Ethereum. I think it will help tremendously. You know what I mean? But as far as it being approved or not approved, I do think it's going to be approved, but I'm not too concerned if it doesn't get approved. I know we'll probably have some type of sell off, but I think that'll just be a buying opportunity in a bull run, in a bull market, in a bull run. If this is your first bull run, your first bull market, these dips are a gift. So if we get massive dips in an uptrend like this, a strong uptrend like this, like the other day when we had the bear market of Tuesday, these are just opportunities. These are just gifts. You got to jump in. You got to keep that fear and that greed in check. You got to be even keel. You got to be stoic. You got to come in, have a plan, know your plan, and execute the plan. So, like I said, if the ETF doesn't get approved, I already have a plan. I already have price points that I want to start scaling out of Ethereum, probably into a little bit of fiat, probably into some Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is like the savings account. So, like I said, yeah, Ethereum, it's. I feel like it's gonna get approved, but if it doesn't, I'm not too concerned about it.
Hmm.
But I hope so, because Ethereum is my biggest bag, and I've been holding it for years, and I'm ready for it to go to 10K and plus. So hopefully it does, because I know it'll get there a lot quicker if it does.
Absolutely. Well, bros, it is going to be the conversation, I think, from here. This whether or not the Ethereum ETF approval is going to take place. Clearly, it has a lower rating to be approved than what Bitcoin had. There's just a lot more. There's just a lot more people, involved in Ethereum, right? Whereas with Bitcoin, there's really only one person, and nobody's heard from him in like a decade, right? So, right, that from a expecting investing in someone's efforts aspect of the Howey test, it's a lot more there than it is for Ethereum than it is for Bitcoin. This is a clarifying kind of back and forth from that Vulcanus tweet. Doge Hippie said, if there's no dialogue between SEC and asset managers by next month, it's a certainty that ETF won't be approved in May. And then Eric said, largely agree. Each day, no comments, odds get lower. Radio silence is no good, right? So that is ultimately, kind of where I fall on this is it's like you need to have the SEC requesting amendments, kind of cooperating, going back and forth, and giving comments. Now, one thing I'll say that's kind of the saving grace of all this is this truth here, which is that BlackRock's ETF success rate with the SEC is 576 now to what about to one. So they've only ever lost one ETF application, was only ever disproved, not approved. So it's like, would BlackRock have ever submitted this to taint their record? My guess is that no, is that they not only would not taint the record, but they also would sue, right? They probably enter a combined suit with Fidelity and ARK Invest and Grayscale to go to the judicial system yet again on behalf of crypto to take the SEC to court. So this is
Can
a
I say
big.
something, T.
You absolutely can. Go ahead.
So we gotta take a step back, especially people who've been in crypto for a while, especially before these ETFs came around. We got to take a step back and remember, we thought or we knew these prices were going to be inevitable one day anyway without the ETFs. These ETFs are just like, let's say we're driving a Ferrari. Now we got nitros on the Ferrari. You know what I mean? We're already going fast. We're already going to our destination pretty fast. Now we have nitros on it and we're getting there even faster. So sometimes we got to take a step back, realize that even without these ETFs, we would get to these prices. We would inevitably probably get to these prices. The ETFs are just added fuel to the fire. So I keep that in mind when I'm, thinking about it. I don't let it get me too riled up, because when I start getting too riled up and too emotional about it, I start losing money. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like losing money,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to sometimes just tell my audience to take a step back and realize that these prices were inevitable for the most part. We're just getting there a lot quicker.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. And I think ultimately, by May 23rd, Ethereum does get across the finish line. I think Gary Gensler is just going to do everything he can to try to spook the market so that him and his goons can buy Ethereum a little lower.
Yeah.
But ultimately here, at this point in time, I do not plan rotating out. I do not plan on rotating out Ethereum based on what I'm seeing. But by the end of the month, if there isn't any comment, if there isn't cooperation, that may start to change my thinking on my Ethereum allocation. So moving on, we had an interesting kind of getting back into orange. Well, why don't we do this? Look, we have a factoid of the day. This is a holdover factoid of the day from a couple of days ago when the quote was from Julian Assange, and it was something about feminism and Saudi Arabia. So here's the quote of the day for you. In September of 2017, who was granted the right to drive cars in Saudi Arabia? Was it A, French passport holders, B, foreign military personnel, C, teens 16 to 18, or was it D, women?
I'm going to have to say probably women.
Locking it in. I like it. Here we go. Let's see. It was women.
Yeah.
So there you go. In 2017, looks like, let's see, 2017, King Solomon issued an order to allow women to drive, with new guidelines to be created and implemented by June 2018. Women to drive campaigners who ordered not to contact media in 2018. Okay, so there you go. That it's a little wild to think that half the population genetically was not able to drive there in Saudi Arabia, but they pump a lot of oil. They sell a lot of oil.
You're right.
So that was a little bit of a crazy statistic. But yesterday was National Women's Day, so we wanted to bring light here on the Investing Bros to the fact that all women are not treated the same across the world. And then there's also this story here from CoinDesk that came out yesterday. Women are usually savers instead of investors. Can Bitcoin change that? So it looks like they've done some studies, and it looks like statistically women don't invest as much. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but has that kind of been your experience as well? I know that you're with your brand and with your efforts, you've been trying to reach out and orange pill folks. So have you experienced that at all? And what have been some methods to reach out to women?
We could circle back to my household. My wife, man, she's a saver. Like me, I'm taking my money and I'm investing it. I'm trying to make my money make more money like a vehicle. My wife likes to hoard money. She likes to save money. I kind of got her to start investing it and got her to stop losing her purchasing power year over year. You know what I mean? But I've definitely, from a firsthand perspective, have noticed that a lot of women are better savers. I mean, women are a lot better than us in a lot of areas. Like women are very, very smart when it comes to different things. And they're, without my wife, I will say this, without my wife, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, because what I know about money and what she does, with the money, we're a perfect cohesive team. So I definitely, can second that when it comes to saving. But, a lot of times we are taught once we start investing, once we learn how to invest, is to not hold money, not hold fiat, not hold this, not hold that. But we got to hold some. We need some for bills. We need some for emergency things like that. And my wife is very good with that. Me, I got $2,000-$3,000. I'm dumping it in Floki. You know what I mean? So, we got to have some type of balance, coming out.
Yep, absolutely. I've experienced something similar where, that basically my fiance just kind of leaves it to me. I mean, we haven't really merged our finances yet because we're not quite married. We'll be getting married later this summer. But her approach, she's grown. I mean, being around me as much as she is, you're going to learn a thing or two about crypto. But she's been very hardcore studying physical therapy, so she's had her mind very focused on some difficult, cognitive stuff to do. She's been busy. But to the extent that she's been more recently seeing Bitcoin go up and to the right, I think that she's warmed up to the idea a little more. But what CoinDesk is, I think, really getting at here is that there's opportunity, right? There's opportunity for a new group of another giant, bag of money to get rotated into Bitcoin, which is, I guess, women's money. Again, I don't know if that's true. it kind of seems like it might be true based on my experience, but they didn't have a ton of statistics in this article, unfortunately. But they were just kind of highlighting that for Women's Day, there's an opportunity for women to get orange pilled, to open their eyes and say, hey, we should buy crypto. But I think that traditionally women are less likely to invest money in general. So to go as far out into the risk curve as something like Bitcoin might be a little bit of a difficult jump. But anyway, that's something to think about. I know that there's plenty of really talented women influencers in the crypto space. So
I got a quick story for you,
Yep.
for the
Send
audience.
it.
So, like I said, in 2020, when I really started to go down the stock market rabbit hole, me and my wife, we both downloaded Robinhood. So
Nice.
I'm over there buying Alibaba and Apple and all this. What does she buy? She buys Dogecoin. She's like, what is this? Doge coin. It was like 0.005 or something
Should have held
super
it.
low. So she starts putting money into this. She kind of beat me to the punch. By the end of 2020, going into 2021, when Elon Musk started getting on the Doge train and going on Saturday Night Live and stuff, she didn't raked over $20,000 just off of Dogecoin. So she beat me to the crypto punch. So I definitely have to give her kudos for that. So that was something that, it might have been luck, you know what I mean? But, you can't deny the fact that she was early.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That is actually kind of crazy. Do you
It
remember
is.
what it was about Dogecoin that kind of drew her in?
You know when newbies come in, it's how many zeros are in front of the next number. So it was
Mm,
that. So she, you look on Robinhood, and that was like Dogecoin was like had the most zeros in front of anything on Robinhood. So she just bought that like,
gotcha.
oh, I can put in $500 and get this many coins. So that was her premise. It wasn't any type of analytical or technical or fundamental analysis. It was just like it has
Mm-hmm.
this many zeros. I'm getting this because I can get this many for this much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. I can definitely understand how that logic might make sense.
Right. It
Um,
worked out.
I love it. I love it. Well, here is the Bitcoin chart. This is what we're kind of seeing for Bitcoin, and this is the previous all time high level of 68.9, and or 69,000, and then this is where we spiked up to here at 70,000, not too long ago, just here on the 8th, yesterday, and so obviously that was a monumental kind of price to put in because it was a new all time high. But since then, we've kind of just moved sideways, which historically starts to open up the door for, historically with this bull run that we know about so far, to Chainlink and Caspa. And if you look down, Caspa is actually shedding today. It's actually broken down below this line of, it's not a good line of support because it's something I drew. Let me get an actual line of support in here. But I want to know, do you hold any Caspa or Chainlink?
Oh yeah, definitely. Chainlink is I've been holding Chainlink since 2021. I let it ride. I think it got to like 50, rode it all the way back, back down through the bear market. Caspa, I'm actually trading Caspa. I made a video on my channel. You can check the receipts. I did a video probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We got in Caspa at 10 cent. We thought it was going straight to about 25, 30 cents. It's losing steam right now, but I think Caspa is going to do pretty well. So as long as we, stay above 10 cent, my trade will be open.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I go back to this high back here at 14.3, it's a little bit difficult to draw it in here because there's not a, you could draw it just at this consolidation here in which Caspa has not broken down through yet. But if you draw it here, just going back to this high back here as resistance, we have broken through that for Caspa. It has wicked down. So, you would expect to see Caspa go ahead and move to the upside as Bitcoin is sideways. But, look, if you don't have any Caspa exposure right now, meaning you don't own any Caspa, this might not be a bad price to try to get back in now that it's back in the levels that it broke through. So that, it's basically coming back down and confirming this level here generally as support. And I would expect an up and to the right movement there for Caspa in pretty short order. I'm on the 1 hour chart. Let's go out to the daily chart and see if there's anything else to pull out here for Caspa. Just as we're kind of nearing the end of the show here. Yeah, so I mean probably could have drawn that line a little better, but ultimately, you're seeing Caspa return down to this area where there was a lot of agreement in the market that the price really should be around 14 cents. It's kind of coming back down there, maybe hang out a little bit there, but I would imagine that a bullish catalyst wouldn't be too far away for Caspa to go ahead and make a break to the upside. Not seeing what I want to see here on the ALGO oscillators, money flow coming down on the daily chart, and the hyperwave also kind of continuing to give up some levels there. So overall, if you're looking to add to a Caspa position, I think you might see some more downside here for Caspa. But if you don't have any exposure at all to Caspa, these current levels may not be a bad place to start to DCA. On Chainlink, however, you are seeing a nice little bid to the upside. We're up 2.6 today, according to TradingView. On the daily chart, you can kind of see that we had a pretty low wick here on the 5th, so kind of midweek here, that came down and tested this pretty well-defined line of resistance that was keeping Chainlink's price suppressed. It broke through that here on February 1st, and back here on the 5th of March that we saw this week, it came back and kind of tested that area and wicked all the way back up. That would have been a nice price to get into Caspa, especially if you're swing trading. But from there, we're seeing Caspa kind of find its footing here in this consolidation, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Caspa go ahead and make a move higher here on the ALGO oscillator. Money flow still not really moving in the right direction, but it is starting to plateau. If it can make a move like it made back here and start to get a little bit more of a bid, then we might see Chainlink moving higher pretty soon, because it's when Bitcoin gets boring, I've noticed that Chainlink starts to go ahead and throw it into fifth gear and just slam on the gas. So we may be poised to see that yet again. Now there's a classification of cryptos that have been doing absolutely fantastic so far. Some of them here are on my screen. Render, WorldCoin, the Graph, Near, and TIA, as well as AGIX. AGIX up, you can't really see it here, almost 10% this morning. AI is killing it on the stock market side and in crypto. Do you think that there is a chance that it's a bubble, the AI bubble? And do you think that there's a category of crypto that can beat it?
That could beat it. AI right now is the wave of the world. Like anything AI in the stock market has been going up. Nvidia leading the charge. I think the AI narrative in crypto is going to keep going. I think it's going to do well even from here. I think a lot of these prices are still fairly cheap in the grand scheme of things, of where I think these coins are going. Me personally, I really, really love DPIN. Like DPIN is my thing, and I like DPIN because you can kind of start from zero and just make money, doing things that you're going to do on a daily task anyway. Like I got Helium Mobile. I had 2 phones. I was mining mobile token every day. I got, a lot of coins doing that over the past couple months. Then you have things like Dymo, where you drive to earn. You can download the app. You can download or buy, the different hardware, attach it to your car, and just earn while you drive. Then they have things like Hive Mapper, which is comparable to Dymo. It's just so many different things that are coming out. It's a new one that is, I think they have an airdrop coming out. It's called Grass. So they're taking your grass.io. They're taking your unused bandwidth. I don't know if this is, hopefully it's safe. Don't take this as financial advice. They're taking your unused bandwidth, using it to feed AI models or whatnot, and then they're paying you points right now, because they haven't confirmed a launch or airdrop, paying you in grass rewards. So that's another thing that I'm looking at. Yep, that's another thing that I'm looking at that I've been doing for a while, and this has all been free. So I'm very, very, very bullish on this. These things are actually bringing real world use case into the market. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on there. And then gaming, of course. Gaming is something that, people don't understand how big gaming is in the world. It's like the biggest things, bigger than music, bigger than movies. Gaming is like, one of the number one things in the world, money generating. So I'm looking at gaming. I'm not really well versed in gaming. So if I'm not really well versed in stuff, I usually go and watch different people who are, basically making that type of content. But I think gaming will do well. I think DPIN, AI, it's all going to do well. if you've been in crypto, you can realize that, or you realize that it all goes up and to the right, has its time. And then when the sector or the narrative comes around, then it goes like that. It's going up, and then the narrative comes around the sector, it goes up parabolically, then the next sector up parabolically. We're seeing that with meme coins, we're seeing it with AI right now. And it's just a rotation, a rinse and repeat. And once you get that down pat, you should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. That's kind of my approach as well. So, here we are, 2024. We've had an early bull run. We could potentially see some turbulence here. We're kind of coming into some turbulence as we approach the May 23rd date, which is when the Ethereum spot ETF is kind of coming in. We've talked about that enough, I think. But, I think once we get past that turbulence and we're into the summer, right, real firmly into the summer, I think Bitcoin prices could easily be in the $100,000 Bitcoin easily. I wouldn't also be shocked if we've just remained sideways, right, and just kind of taken some time to maybe even explore to the downside some levels. I
just thought of something.
Yeah.
Let's say Ethereum, this really just popped in my head. Let's say Ethereum doesn't get that ETF. Will that money flow back into Bitcoin? You know what I mean? And propel Bitcoin higher? Because a lot of people are front running the trade thinking Ethereum is going to get this ETF. So if it doesn't happen, will that money just be sucked out of Ethereum and go back into Bitcoin?
Well, so a couple of things. I think the short answer to that question is yes, but I think also, you have to ask the question, could it also rotate into the altcoins, like further down on the risk curve? Solana, Cardano, Binance. I think that those are probably some alternatives as well. But one thing that's unique about, proof of stake coins is that you have to go in, you have to unstake them, right? So to the extent that folks have Ethereum staked, which a lot do, it's not so easy to just sell. And
Right.
you do usually you're going to pay some gas fees. So I think ultimately the sell off for Ethereum, first of all, it's a little premature in my opinion to try to speculate on what that's going to look like. But my guess is that it wouldn't be as bad as you might think. But yeah, I think a rotate into Bitcoin would probably be the first rotation, and then you'd probably see a move into altcoins. Yeah, but something to consider is that you do have to unstake Ethereum if you've had it staked, and I think that's probably a step that people are going to think like, well, I've been through the bear market. I still think that Ethereum's going to be very valuable. Mark Cuban hasn't sold his Ethereum if he hasn't at that point in time, which I don't think he will. And then you just keep on just hodling it and keep it staked and keep earning that APY, right? I think that's what the kind of the thought process is going to be for a lot of them. I think if there is going to be lawsuits on the SEC by that point in time, they're going to be made known. Folks are going to, BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, whoever is going to be suing the SEC, that'll be well known, and so there'll be that kind of anticipation building. So yeah, but I think you're absolutely right, and that thought did cross my mind when I first read that Blofin tweet the other day. Was there's going to be a rotation into Bitcoin if this spot Ethereum ETF starts to look shaky, right? If the experts over at Bloomberg, it seems, the ETF experts start to kind of wave the red flag, like this is not getting approved this cycle, then you would see more than likely a rotation into Bitcoin. Absolutely. We did have a super chat a little earlier. Army Piper, maybe you've heard of him, said FD White and T Shroom are a fire show. Absolutely love it. What are your thoughts on Army Piper, FD?
Man, Army Piper, he came in and he embraced me. He helps me. He's hooking me up with different people, man. Army Piper is the GOAT, man. Shout out to Army Piper, man. Shout out to Army Piper, whole Piper Academy over there. Good guys. I was on the show I think last week or the week before. Everybody who I've been coming on feels like I've been knowing you guys for a long time. Feels like we, it's just flowing. It feels like we're just talking, here, just privately. So, man, I appreciate you guys, man. I like to show a lot of gratitude, especially for people who, you don't have to do this. You don't have to invite me on your show. So I'm really appreciative of you guys, man. Really, really appreciative.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a fantastic show. I think we've gotten a lot of alpha, and I think we've also gotten kind of a lot of hope. I can't wait to see, kind of how you post and, the kind of content that you make while you're traveling in Thailand and Dubai. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for sure. We also had a chat here from Captain Crypto said the only reason SEC approved the Bitcoin ETF was because the grayscale win in court. Approval of ETH ETF is a long shot. So I definitely don't agree that it's a long shot. I do agree that it's less likely than the Bitcoin one, and I do think that grayscale win played a big role. It was hard for Gary Gensler after taking that L to then vote against it. But I think ultimately, guys, there's really only one name that decides all of this, and it's BlackRock. And for better or for worse, BlackRock is it's got his foot on the gas for pro crypto, and it's doing it again here with Ethereum. We don't know exactly why BlackRock is so gung ho on Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto in general. There's a lot of speculation that maybe it's not for the right reasons, but so far, it seems like it's at worst it's a bullish catalyst. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're keeping it. We're staying monitoring the situation as best we can. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. They've only ever lost one ETF application in history, and it wasn't the Bitcoin one. So fingers crossed. Exactly. Piper Academy said, "Thanks, FD White. Much love." And it is really good. This is going to be an exciting week here, guys. Oh, DPG said, "Every day render go up, I get more mad I didn't buy." That it is one of the. Now, there's a couple of coins that I wish I'd bought. Obviously, I'm sure everybody listening has a couple of coins popping into their head. Render probably one of them. Render's one that I never got any exposure to. So, back when I first learned about it, I first learned about Render when it was migrating over to Solana, and that was before Solana was popular as it is now. Back then it was the chain that kept going down and continues to keep going down. But Render was kind of migrating onto it, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, my thought was Render is really just like they don't think that they're going to be viable anymore, so they're using their social capital to make Solana look better. That kind of made sense to me at the time, but no, now it's like, no, got that one wrong. Should have bought some Render. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Solana versus Cardano?
Well, I hold a lot of Cardano, so I'm a little bit biased, wanting the price go up. I think they're going to do well. I think Cardano has a huge community. I'm not really seeing huge inflows of new people coming into Cardano, but I think as long as the market progresses, Cardano is going to progress. I think it's going to break all-time highs fairly easily. Solana, shout out to you guys, man. A lot of people don't know, you and Tim, I think Tim called Solana at 8 when everybody was calling for it to go to 0. Everybody was calling for it to never come back. I think you and Tim called it $8 bottom, somewhere around there. And I think I took a long at like 11 or 12 because of you guys. So you guys made me some money. I'm going to have to throw you a super chat, man. But, I think Solana's going to do well. I think Solana might be about 140, 150. I haven't checked the chart in a minute, but I think it's gonna, I think Solana's gonna probably will still 10x from here. I'm still pretty bullish on Solana and the whole ecosystem, because Solana is a lot cheaper than Ethereum. So people who don't want to play with Ethereum, they're probably gonna come to Solana, and then Solana will get a lot of things going on. They have a lot of meme coins popping up as we speak right now that are making, the Solana chain very hot right now. So I think they're going to do good. I think NFTs are going to come back. That's a whole nother story, but I think they're going to come back on Solana very strong. Even Cardano, I think NFTs will come back on Cardano. So I'm bullish on the whole space, to be honest. I'm just super bullish for 2024. I think we're going to exceed expectations and just keep going.
I love it. As we wrap up, is there any coins that you think are going to absolutely tank that people are buying and they should stop buying? Maybe you don't have any, but I'm always curious about that.
I don't know if it's going to tank, man, but XRP Army, shout out to you guys, man. I made a video. Every time I make an XRP video, I get a lot of views, on my channel, XRP is a strong community. I'm thinking if XRP can hold 62, 63 cents, I think we'll rock it to, 75, $1 fairly soon, but they've been holding, they've been strong. Their conviction hasn't waned. So shout out to the XRP community, man. You have the resilience of Job, you know what I mean? So
nice.
Hopefully, I think, XRP will still do well. It's just lagging behind, but I think it'll still do well. XRP is a pretty strong coin. It has a lot of backing from big entities, so I think it'll do pretty good, man. But stay the course, XRP Army. We're here with you.
Absolutely. Well, FD, it has been a huge honor to have you on. We have all of your links down here in the description of this video. They're the first links in the video. You can go find you on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and on, of course, YouTube. So is there anything that you want to tell the bros before we sign off?
Just thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bringing consistent, reliable content over the years. I've been watching you guys for years, like I said, so I'm very appreciative of that. On top of this opportunity, and everybody who's watching, I hope you all get rich beyond your wildest dreams, and not only rich monetarily, but happy, healthy, and just, live life. Time is ticking. We got to live now.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. But thank you all. Thank you to Army Piper and Crux of Crypto as well for making this happen, introducing you to me and getting the contact info shared and everything. Bros, thank you so much for tuning in to this Saturday edition. We'll be hitting the week hard again on Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you go check out the links for this fine gentleman who's joined me today. He's going to be hitting the road. He's going to be headed to Dubai with his family. He's going to Thailand, so he's going to be putting out some fire content. Make sure you tune in over there to FD White. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're trading today, stay hydrated and keep those stop losses tight. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.